at brunch, and she was like, oh my God, how do you love New York? Do you love it? You must love it so much. Like, oh my God, you must love it like so much. And I was like, yeah, it's pretty cool, I guess. And she said, oh my God, shut up. It's like the greatest city in the world. It's the greatest city in the world. It's like every day must be like an episode of Sex and the City or Girls or Seinfeld or Friends. And I said, stop right there. No, thankfully, New York isn't quite that white. And no, honestly, New York isn't like any of that TV shit. She said, oh, I see. So it's more like Crocodile Dundee meets Home Alone 2, Lost in New York. And I said, no, it's more like Requiem for a Dream meets City Slickers 2, The Legend of Curly Stone. And she said, wait, what? And I said, ah! And she said, wait, what? And I said, ah! And she said, I don't get it. Listen, New York is simple, okay? I lived here. It's easy. It's all in how you look at it. New York is it's like Candyland. It's 99% luck. It's entirely overstimulating, but all you have to do is figure out how to get from point A to point B in the shortest amount of time possible. Plus, there's lots of yummy treats along the way. And I said, no, New York isn't as simple as that. New York is more like chutes and ladders. Because for every 2 steps you take towards winning the game, you are only 2 chutes and a ladder away from being right back where you started, you know? Square fucking one. And she said, oh, so it's more like Q*bert? Like sometimes you have to go backwards or downwards in order to go forwards or upwards. And I said, no, it's more like Frogger. Like I'm constantly afraid I'm going to be killed in traffic. New York isn't really like that either. But moving to New York to pursue a career as an artist is exactly like playing The Legend of Zelda. And I'm not talking about Legend of Zelda 2, The Adventures of Link, Link's Awakening, Ocarina of Time, Majora's Mask, Skyward Sword, Twilight Princess, any of that shit. No, I'm talking about old school Legend of Zelda 1 for the NES. It's like the game starts, right? And there you are. And you don't really know who you are. You don't really know how you got there, but you know you got shit to do. So, you go down the stairs in front of you. Something happens, you go back up those stairs. You will go up and down stairs a lot. And then you basically just wander around, trying not to get attacked. And all the while, you're picking up these little things along the way, and it's up to you to figure out how to use that shit. And at first, your heart levels are constantly diminishing because you don't know what the fuck you're doing, and there are beasts on every corner, but pretty soon, you figure it out. And you start kicking ass. And then, by some miracle, you stumble upon level 1. And it's here you get the boomerang and the bow. And you're going to need that shit for level 2. And then, you beat the level, and you get a piece of the Triforce. But guess what? It's just a small piece of that shit. So now, you gotta go wander around some more, going up and down a bunch more steps. Until eventually you find level 2. And it's the same for level 3. And in level 3, you get the raft. And you can't go to level 4 without the raft. And in level 4, you get the ladder. And you can't go to level 5 without the ladder. And on, so it goes, level after level, as you get better and better at figuring out the game. Trying not to get pissed every time you fail, because it is just a game. And you get better at remembering the passages that are safe to traverse. And sometimes you get lucky. And you light a bush on fire and there's like 60 coins down there. Or sometimes you get on an empty train car and it's like, wow, gangrene his foot. You're trying to remember the cardinal directions you learned as a kid and where things are in relation to one another, and then finally, after all of that time and hard work, you are ready for level 6, which is in some secret fucking graveyard! And all of your friends seem to be finding the graveyard just fine, and you're happy for them. You are, like, really, like, you're happy that your friends have all found the secret graveyard. But you can't help thinking, like, is something wrong with me that I don't know how to get into that graveyard? Maybe there's, like, some sort of, like, graveyard class I can be taking? Or is there some sort of secret graveyard showcase I should be in? I mean, if I could just get into that secret graveyard, I mean, if I just had the right people who could get me in that graveyard, goddamn! What a hero I would be. And then, whether by luck, or chance, or the aid of friends, or the Nintendo Fun Club, you find it. And eventually, you get the magic book, and the wand, and the power amulet, and the silver arrow, and you level up into the white Link costume, and you get the big wooden shield, and more hearts from the fairy at the lake. Next thing you know, you're at level 8, and you've got your arrow knocked. You're about ready to whoop Ganon's piggy, little, chompy little ass, and you realize, in a matter of seconds, you're going to do it. You're going to beat the game. And then you are left with a question, you know? Like one of those kind of questions, like, is success in the winning of the game or the playing of it. Because sometimes it is the journey and not the destination. Because experience is always the best education, and we could all be better students. Because sometimes you don't win the game. Because most people who play this game don't win this game. Because sometimes you get all the way to the last level and you forget to hold the reset button down when you turn off the power console and you lose all your saved game data. Or sometimes a few years later when you're in college, you get all the way to the last level and your roommate sells your Nintendo and all your games to support his coke habit at a pawn shop in Boulder. Fuck you, Kevin Nichols! The point is, you've got to decide if it's worth it to start over. Knowing what you learned the first time around. Anticipating the obstacles and allowing yourself to fail over and over again so you may learn from your mistakes, that is playing at the top of your intelligence, and you should always play at the top of your intelligence, because New York is like Battletoads, you know? Charisma will only take you so far. And New York is like Castlevania, you know? There's just a lot of fucking creepers around. And New York is like Super Mario Brothers 2. It is weird, it is wild, it is wonderful, and the princess can fly, but actually, New York isn't like any of that shit, no. New York is like the Legend of Zelda, and I will never reveal the Triforce secret. Thank you.